Hello friends, today we will start our new region, abdomen. Abdomen is the part of the trunk below the diaphragm. The cavity of abdomen is divided by a plane of pelvic inlet into two parts. The upper part is known as abdomen proper and lower part is known as pelvic cavity. First of all, we learn about surface landmarks. First, costal margin. The right and left costal margin forms the superolateral boundary of abdomen. Each costal margin is formed by 7th to 10th costal cartilages on each side. Here we can see this is the 7th costal cartilage which is attached to the sternum anteriorly. Then 8th, 9th and 10th cartilages are attached respectively to higher costal cartilage. So this is the right costal margin formed by right 7th to 10th costal cartilages. In the same way, this is the left costal margin formed by 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th costal cartilages. The angle between this right and left costal margin, this angle is known as subcostal angle, or we can say infrasternal angle. At the apex of this angle, there is presence of xiphoid process. This xiphoid process lies at the level of 9th thoracic vertebrae. Posteriorly, when we examine this costal margin, the lowest level of the costal margin is formed by 10th costal cartilage in the mid-axillary line. When we pass a imaginary plane through the lowest margin of the costal cartilage of both the sides, this imaginary plane is known as subcostal plane. It lies at the level of body of the third lumbar vertebra posteriorly. The lower limit of the side of the abdominal wall is formed by the iliac crest. Here we can see this is the left and this is the right iliac crest. The anterior end of the iliac crest is known as anterior superior iliac spine. This is right and this is left anterior superior iliac spine. When we trace 5 cm behind the anterior superior iliac spine, we can palpate the tubercle at the outer margin of the iliac crest. This is tubercle of iliac crest. If we passes the imaginary plane through both the tubercle of iliac crest, then this plane is known as transtubercular plane. It passes at the level of 5th lumbar vertebra posteriorly. The highest point of iliac crest, it lies at the level of 4th lumbar vertebra. This plane passes slightly below the level of umbilicus. Now, pubic symphysis. The pubic symphysis forms the lower limit of anterior abdominal wall in the midline. This is a secondary cartilaginous joint. Lateral to this pubic symphysis, we have a crest. This crest is known as pubic crest. At the lateral end of the pubic crest, we have a tubercle. This is the pubic tubercle. This is right side, and here you can see on this left side, this is a pubic tubercle. This is very important bony landmark. Now the fold of groin. The groin fold, or we can say groove, it extends from the anterior superior iliac spine to the pubic tubercle. It overlies the inguinal ligament, and this fold of groin, it lies at the junction of anterior abdominal wall and front of thigh. The inguinal ligament is attached from anterior superior iliac spine laterally to the pubic tubercle medially. So, midpoint between the anterior superior iliac spine and pubic tubercle is known as midpoint of inguinal ligament. Another point which is known as mid-inguinal point, it lies between anterior superior iliac spine and pubic symphysis. So, the midpoint of inguinal ligament and mid-inguinal point, both of these points are different and one should not confuse between them. Midline groove, it extends from the xiphoid process to the pubic symphysis. This is the vertical groove which divides the anterior abdominal wall into right and left halves. It marks the position of underlying linea alba. Umbilicus, it lies little below the midpoint of the median groove. This is the irregular depressed scar. Posteriorly, it lies at the level of third and fourth lumbar vertebra. Here we can see umbilicus. Now, linea semilunaris. It is the curved vertical groove which extends from the tip of the ninth costal cartilage to the pubic tubercle. It is slightly curved groove. Here we can see the line extending from the tip of the ninth costal cartilage to the pubic tubercle. On this side also we can draw this groove. This groove, it corresponds to the lateral margin of rectus abdominis muscle. Boundary of anterior abdominal wall. Above, it is bounded by xiphoid process and costal margins. Below, it is bounded by anterior part of the iliac crest, fold of groin, pubic tubercle, pubic crest and pubic symphysis. On each side, it is separated from the posterior abdominal wall by extension of mid-axillary line. Now, we will learn about some imaginary plane. First of all, transpyloric plane. It is an imaginary transverse plane which passes through the tip of the ninth costal cartilages. Here we can see this is the right ninth costal cartilage and this is the tip of the ninth costal cartilage. Here this is the tip of the left ninth costal cartilage. If we pass the imaginary plane through this, we have this transpyloric plane. Posteriorly, this transpyloric plane lies at the level of lower border of body of first lumbar vertebra. It lies midway between the suprasternal notch and the pubic symphysis. It is roughly a hand breadth below the xiphisternal joint. This transpyloric plane passes through pylorus of stomach, fundus of gallbladder, hyla of both the kidney, neck of pancreas, origin of superior mesenteric artery, and lower end of the spinal cord lies at this level. Second plane is transtubercular plane. It is the imaginary horizontal plane which joins the tubercle of the iliac crest. This is a transtubercular plane. Posteriorly, it passes through the upper part of the body of fifth lumbar vertebra. These two planes, transpyloric plane and transtubercular plane, are used to divide the abdomen in 9 regions. Another horizontal plane is subcostal plane. The subcostal plane passes through the lowest point of costal margins. It lies at the level of third lumbar vertebra. Then another plane is transumbilical plane, which passes through the umbilicus. Posteriorly, this plane passes through the disc between third and fourth lumbar vertebra. Now, vertical planes. It includes right and left lateral planes. It extends from the midpoint of the clavicle above to the mid-inguinal point below. This mid-inguinal point lies between anterior superior iliac spine and pubic symphysis. So, this is the right lateral plane. It passes through the tip of the 9th costal cartilage. Here, same way, this is the left lateral plane. With the help of these two vertical plane and two horizontal plane, we can divide the abdomen into 9 regions, which is helpful to us for describing the location of viscera. 9 regions of abdomen are divided into 3 vertical zones: median zone, right and left zone. In the median zone, the regions from above downward, upper one is epigastric region, the middle one is umbilical region, and lower one is hypogastric region. On the right side, right hypochondriac region, right lumbar region, and right iliac fossa. On the left side, left hypochondrium, left lumbar region, and left iliac fossa. The main content of right hypochondriac region, it is the liver and gallbladder. On the left hypochondriac region, we will find spleen, stomach, and left colic flexure. In the epigastric region, stomach, duodenum, and pancreas. In the right lumbar region, right kidney, ureter, and ascending colon. In left lumbar region, left kidney, ureter, and descending colon. In umbilical region is mainly occupied by coils of small intestine, and posteriorly there is presence of aorta and inferior vena cava. In right iliac fossa, cecum and appendix. Left iliac fossa, sigmoid colon. Hypogastric region, it contains mainly coils of small intestine. It also contains urinary bladder when it becomes distended. Remember this, empty urinary bladder is pelvic in position, but when it becomes distended, it lies in this hypogastric region. In the same way, when the uterus is enlarged, it occupies a hypogastric region. For general clinical descriptions, the abdominal cavity is divided into 4 quadrants by one horizontal plane, that is the transumbilical plane, and one median plane. This median plane crosses the horizontal plane at the level of umbilicus. In this way, we can divide the abdomen into 4 quadrants. These are right and left upper quadrants and right and left lower quadrants. umbilicus. It is the normal puckered scar in the anterior abdominal wall. It represents the site of attachment of umbilical cord in the fetus. Position of umbilicus is variable. In adult, it lies in the anterior midline at the level of intervertebral disc between third and fourth lumbar vertebra. But in newborn, it is slightly at the lower level due to poorly developed pelvic region. In old age, it comes down to lower level due to diminished tone of abdominal muscles. Anatomical importance of umbilicus. The level of umbilicus serves as a watershed line for venous as well as lymphatic drainage. Cutaneous lymphatics above the level of umbilicus passes upward and drain into axillary lymph node, while the cutaneous lymphatics below the level of umbilicus passes downward and drain into superficial inguinal lymph node. Venous blood also follow the rule. It flows upward above the plane of umbilicus and it flows downward below the level of umbilical plane. So normally this lymph and venous blood do not cross the umbilical plane. The skin around umbilicus is supplied by T10 segment of spinal cord. So visceral pain of appendicitis is referred to the umbilicus because appendix is also supplied by same T10 spinal segment. Umbilicus, it is one of the important site of portocaval anastomosis. Here the paraumbilical vein, which is the tributary of portal vein, anastomosis with the number of tributaries of systemic veins around the umbilicus. In case of portal vein obstruction, the subcutaneous tributaries of systemic veins are dilated and they distended like a spoke of wheel, which is known as caput medusa. Here you can see, we can see the dilated veins looks like a spoke of wheel around the umbilicus. Now embryological importance. Umbilicus, it is the meeting point of 4 folds of embryonic plate, 2 lateral folds, 1 head fold and 1 tail fold. It is also a meeting point of 3 systems, namely digestive system, vitellointestinal duct, excretory system, urachus and vascular system in the form of umbilical vessels.